Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to day number 9 of the traffic challenge. We're almost there, guys. Please keep posting your content. The goal of this challenge is getting you out of your comfort zone. Start posting content because content is what changed my life. And in today's training, we're going to be talking about a life being completely turned around. Like, this guy went from broke, drug addict to over 400,000 people on YouTube. Actually, almost 500,000 at this point because his channel is blowing up. So I'm really excited. We're going to be going deep, guys. Like, I don't even know how this is going to go. This is going to be a very deep conversation, a story that I think you guys will get a ton of value from. And maybe you guys have family members maybe going through this. I know I have some family members going through this. So it's a deep topic for sure. So before I bring him on, I want to show you real quick where you guys can post the traffic or the content. Okay, so day number 9. So I want to show you real quickly. So inside the 72-hour challenge group, okay, you can go to day number 9, which is right here. I just posted it, and you can post your content. Okay, so once you make your short form videos, make sure to post them right here, okay? Guys, this last 2 days, if you forgot some days, make sure to go back, okay? When you go back to the arrows right here in the 72-hour challenge group, you can post day 8, day 7, day 6, and don't skip a day, okay? This is going to be like, we're almost there. We're almost there. So keep posting your content. So, all right. So I want to bring this guy on. Really excited because not only does he have an incredible story, this is someone I'm partnering with. We're actually starting a business together, and I'm excited to kind of hint what we're going to be doing. We're going to explain a little bit at the end of the training, but without further ado, I want to introduce to you guys my man, Thomas Garretts. What's up, brother?
What's going on? Thank you for having me.
Dude, yeah, man, so excited to have you on. So lots of people on. If you guys are excited, comment hashtag excited down below if you guys are enjoying the traffic challenge, and if you guys are excited for Thomas to come and tell his story. So Thomas, man, like I know we got some cool things going on together. We've been working on some stuff in the background, which we'll explain or we'll kind of reveal at the end of this. But yeah, man, it's been fun getting to know you and working with you personally, starting a business together. But in today's training and today's video, we want to go deep into your story, right? Like, and we kind of talked about before this, like, how deep do we really want to go, right? So yeah, man, like, so before we even get into it, like, just start us off. Like, what's the story? How did you go from broke to, being a drug addict to being super successful, man? Like, your YouTube channel is blowing up. So yeah, man, let's get right into it.
Yeah. Okay. So, I guess I'll start from the beginning, and hopefully, I mean, I won't stick too much at the start. I'm not going to tell you how I was a little kid or nothing like that too long, but I'll start from the start just to give context and everything, I guess, and we'll go from there. I think it's kind of a crazy story, so,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
But I think everyone has. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was just so you know, if you could see the comments on the right side, and people were like, "I've been waiting for this. I'm excited."
Where are the comments?
So on the top right, you'll see comments.
Of
On
what?
StreamYard.
Of StreamYard? I don't see any.
You don't see any. Are you on StreamYard? And if you go to the top right where it says comments, you don't see that. So it says ban. Oh no, that's weird. Okay.
Maybe it's just for you.
No, you should be able to see them, but that's okay. I just wanted to.
Okay. Oh, there. Here we go.
You do see them?
In full. I see them now. Yep.
Okay. So yeah, they're there if you want to kind of just, as you're going through it. So anyways, brother.
I was in full screen. So you can't see them in full screen, apparently.
Got it. Cool.
All right.
Awesome. And I will probably do some Q&A at the end, guys. So, I mean, make sure to engage as we're going through this. Drop the comments as we're going through it, and we'll probably do some Q&A at the end. So, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That's cool. So these are coming in live. All right.
Yeah, they're live, man. We're live all over the place.
Yeah. Okay. So this is crazy because, I've talked about my story a couple times only. Really in the legendary marketer community is the only time I've done it. And
Yeah.
I'm sure most of your community knows about legendary marketer, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So like Dave Sharp is also a drug addict. And what's crazy is, I said to Jonathan, I don't know if people care about my story. Me personally, I'm the type that I love stories. I love like deep stories, documentaries, like life stories, memoirs, all that stuff. I'm the type that loves that kind of stuff. And I don't know if everyone's like that, but when I first learned about this business, it was because I heard about Dave Sharp's story of being a drug
Mm.
addict, and we have similarities in our story.
Yeah.
So hopefully this helps kind of show you that it is possible no matter what. And I'll bring you guys back and we'll get back into that a little bit. So yeah, I mean, I started, just like anyone else, just a little kid. And let's see, where should I start? I guess I'll try to hit like major life events, right?
Yeah.
Um, let's see. You know what's crazy? I don't know a whole lot. I don't know if anyone else is like this, but do you guys remember much about your childhood? Remember so little. And the messed up part is like my grandpa, he was a doctor and worked at
Mm.
the University of Minnesota. Like he was like the head of our family. And unfortunately, I think I was 2 or 3 years old when he passed away, and he was only 70.
Wow.
He had a heart problem.
Hmm.
And I was so young where I didn't really understand it. Um, but I just remember always being at his house, and he was like, we would go on vacations, like Disney World, and after that, everything kind of stopped. It kind of hurt our
Yeah.
family a lot, and no
Hmm.
one really admitted it, but it really hurt our family a lot. I think part of the reason my mom and dad ended up getting divorced, and this is at a young age, I started seeing this stuff because when he passed away, I think he had like $1 million split between the 5 kids.
Yeah.
My dad and my mom ended up buying a house. And then when my parents got divorced, my mom kept the house, right? And my
Hmm.
dad had to move out of his own house. So this is what I'm starting to see at a young age, and I'm just like kind of confused, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And put that into the fact that my dad is Jewish and my mom is Christian. Not to bring
Hmm.
religion into it, but like I never had like a sense of like, okay, this is the type of person I am. Like I'm
Yeah.
gonna follow this. Like I was never like I went to church, I went to Passover, I did both things,
Yeah.
not super heavily, but like so I was a little confused and I'm like
Sure.
still like my grandpa was like my hero. Like these memories, these small memories I have are always things I did with him. And then all of a sudden he's gone. And I always was so kind of upset about that, you know?
Mm. Yeah.
And I never really realized it till I started getting older. Um, and just kind of seeing how things went because my parents are divorced now. My mom's dating people I don't really like.
Mhm.
Um,
And
and
how old were
living
you
in
at
the
this time?
house. What?
How old were you at this time?
7,
So,
maybe
okay.
8.
Wow.
No, I don't even know, bro. Like I
You're,
I think they got divorced pretty early. I was maybe like
yeah.
7 or 8
Okay.
probably when they
Yeah.
got divorced. But like as I got older, probably like 10, 11, 12, like that age is when it got really bad cuz like my mom was an alcoholic
Okay.
and my brother at the time he's like 3 or 4 years older than me. So he's
Mhm.
like 16 and he's into to hockey. And that was like everything centered around that. Like
Yeah.
when you're in a sport as a teenager and he's done it his whole life, he's done sports, but like travel to hockey games and like with parents divorced, they both go. It was a weird situation, and I
Yeah.
think a lot of people, especially nowadays, deal with their parents being divorced and they kind of understand it. It may not be like the hardest thing in the world to have your parents divorced, but it's like what happens after. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
now do you have double the Christmases and all that, or it's just weird, and especially
Mhm.
start seeing new people, and that was a struggle because I disliked my mom's new husband
Mm.
got married
Yeah.
a lot, and it was a problem, and it was mostly a problem because I was like, it was just weird because they're living at the house my dad bought with my grandpa's money,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Right.
Um, So that's kind of like the early part, and I kind of because everything was so focused around my brother and his hockey, I kind of went into video games and like
Mhm.
I really liked chess, like things where you got to use your mind to figure out. Um,
Yeah.
like, and I'm not talking like like video game that I loved that I got super into is World of Warcraft. I don't know if anyone knows what that is, but that was
Wow.
exactly wow, right? And that was what I spent basically my years that and Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh,
Mm.
Pokemon, all these card games, things where you gotta use strategy.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
what I did. You know, that was what my brain did to kinda compartmentalize these certain things that I've dealt with. And, um, yeah, so and I was kind of I was a bad student too. Like
Mm.
I hated school
Yeah.
so bad. I don't think I ever did a piece of homework ever. I'm talking
Wow.
ever in my
Wow.
life. Um,
Dang.
so in 7th grade, I think it was no 6th or 5th or 6th or I think it was 5th or I don't even remember. But my parents had told my mom and dad at a thing that I was failing every class, right? I didn't
Mhm.
do my work
Yeah.
and they wanted to hold me back. But at that age, like your parents are allowed to do one or the other. And it was also because I was the youngest in my grade. I was born on
Mm.
August 22nd. So I
Mm.
was so much younger because I was right before the cutoff.
Right, right.
And I think they thought I was dumb or something, you know, like,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
funny. But I just didn't like my work. But they didn't end up holding me back, and I continued down this path of just not doing anything. 7th
Mm.
grade, I ended up getting expelled for like
Wow.
the dumbest reason. I
Were
was
you
at the
ditching
girls'
or you just
no, so I was like at at this girls' basketball game after school without a parent.
uh,
And then I was told I have to have someone pick me up. So I called my friend who lived by the school so him and his mom could pick me up. And the nurse who hated me because I would always say like I had this is so deep. This is crazy that I'm
yeah,
like
yeah,
this is stuff I don't even think about anymore.
yeah.
But yeah, so this is actually like a defining moment for me
Mm.
because this nurse who hated me because I always go there and like play sick, right? Like every kid did that, but I did that a lot. So the nurse didn't like me, but as I got off the phone, she's like blocking me to make sure I don't like go back to the game or something. And I kind of like gave her a shoulder, like
Mm.
what are you doing? Like get out of my way, like kind of like pushed her a little bit. And she's
Okay.
like way bigger than me. Like I'm
Yeah.
small, right? And she's big. And I barely moved her and she was like, "Don't hit me," and grabbed me by my neck and started like pulling like this and like started like screaming at me. It was crazy and
Okay.
brought me
Wow.
into the principal's office. As that happened, my friend and his mom showed up because they lived so close. It's like 2 blocks away.
Mhm.
And they're like, "No, you have to call your parents. We're suspending you for 5 days." I'm like, "What?" Um, I was just amazed. So this is the thing. So um, my mom and her new husband, who I hated,
Mhm.
me and my brother hated this guy. He was just a drunk. They're
Oh,
always
wow.
yelling, fighting. It was just toxic
Wow.
environment. Yeah,
Mhm.
so it was really bad. So him and my mom picked me up. And I said, "I'm hungry, you know, like I'm like upset of what just happened." They don't even know the actual thing that happened. They just
Yeah.
heard what the principal said. I didn't tell them
Sure.
about the person choking me, none of that. Like you're a kid. Of course you're going to believe the adults, which is kind
Yeah.
of my issue. I already didn't like authority, but this is
Mhm.
starting to be my issue with authority figures because of what just happened with this. I
Yeah.
felt so wronged. No one believed me that she choked me and pulled me by my shirt, and I barely touched her, you know? And I'm like, "I'm hungry." He's like, "Well, you can go eat some effing crackers when you get home."
Oh,
And
God.
he's my stepdad, but he's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
guy I don't like, and he's just a jerk.
Yeah.
Um, and then we get home, and for whatever reason, he's just yelling at my mom, and I take the biggest knife out of the kitchen, and I just stabbed it through the door and said, "Stop screaming" at my
Wow.
mom, and then walked out the door, walked to my dad's, and I never lived with my mom again that day.
Really?
It was just
And
my
you just
breaking
keep on
point.
love. Yeah.
Yeah, like, they didn't ask me what happened. I was just so pissed, and then they're just screaming in the other room, and it was really close to actually hitting him. Like, he was by the door when I put that knife through the door, which is crazy, but that's how much I hated that guy. I mean, he's just
Wow.
yeah, And he never like abused me, but he always yelled at me, and my brother
Yeah.
had to stand up for me before. He was like, because he was like 16 at this time,
Yeah.
and he
Yeah.
played hockey. He was big. And he was
Mm.
like, why don't you pick on someone your own size? It was bad, dude. Like,
Wow.
but I never got like hit or nothing like that, but it was
Yeah.
bad. You know what I'm
Yeah, but
saying?
I mean, he's still yelling at you guys, and
Yeah,
like,
it's
that's
bad.
just as bad, like
And I was
emotionally.
upset at my mom too because she never really defended us, at least not in
Mm.
front of us. Maybe that's what they yelled about. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it sucked.
Well, he might have treated her that way too, and maybe she was
Exactly.
scared, like who knows?
Exactly. And it's
Yeah.
probably part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my dad, me and my brother both ended up moving in with him eventually because my mom just it didn't work out between them. Yeah, it just didn't work out. They're always drunk. My mom declared bankruptcy and moved to her mom's house in the middle of nowhere
Mm.
that's where she ended up living. But yeah, so me and my brother ended up living with my dad. And during
Yeah.
that time, when I got suspended for those 5 days, by the way, they called on the fifth day and said, I'm getting either I can fight it and like go to some sort of like court kind of thing,
Mhm. Yeah.
whatever with the school, or I can be withdrawn rather than be expelled. So technically, my dad withdrew me from the
Mm.
school, but they were expelling me, which is
Okay.
crazy,
Yeah. Yeah.
for that. And they called on the fifth day to say that. Um, so yeah, I got expelled. So now it's like in between the school year, I can't get into a school very fast, right? So I had a couple months off where I just
Yeah.
played World of Warcraft, and that's where I got super into that game. I was
Yeah.
the number one priest in the US in arena rankings, number three
Wow.
in the world, like very high ranked.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I did from like 13 to I don't know when I stopped, like 16. I don't know. But
Mm.
I spent on my main character, which was a priest, I had over a year of played
Mm.
time
Oh
in
my
3
gosh.
years.
Wow.
Yes. So
Because you
like
would play hours and hours upon hours, right? Because
all
you
day,
didn't go to
every
school.
day. It was bad. And my
Yeah.
dad struggled with that because he would have to like turn the internet off. I wouldn't go to school. It was bad.
Wow.
Um, so that's like the childhood, right? So that kind of
Yeah.
gets you to understand kind of my issue with authority. And my dad really struggled to support me and my brother when we did live with him. Now that when we're going into high school, and I
Mhm.
go into high school, ninth grade. I did find a new eighth grade school as like an alternative school finally that I could get into after
Okay,
those
so you
3
did
months.
go to a school.
I
You
did
just
end up
skipped
going
that
to
last year.
an alternative school for eighth grade.
Got it.
Yeah, so I got expelled. I think it was the beginning of eighth grade. I don't know if I said that, but it was either the end. Yeah, it was like towards the beginning of eighth grade. So I
Okay.
finished seventh grade. I think it might have been sixth grade that I almost got held back, but seventh grade didn't really have any issues. But junior high in our state or whatever, I don't know if it's different for everyone, but is um like I think is middle school like third through sixth. I think junior high, at least this is how it is for us. The junior high school was seventh and eighth grade, and then high school was ninth through 12th. So I
Mm.
finished that. I went to an alternative school after a few months off. And that's when I got really into World of Warcraft. Those months where I didn't
Yeah.
have to do anything. Like
Right. Right. Right.
I was at home. My dad was at work.
Mm.
Um, so I finally go to ninth grade, and again I have, this is at my height of World of Warcraft. I had truancy issues. I had to go to truancy court. I skipped
Mm.
school. Um, I think I start ninth grade. I mean, the first time I smoked weed, I was like 13, but it was
Mm.
just one time, and it was out of like my friend's inhaler.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know what was going on. Like I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, ninth grade was the first time I did that, and I didn't go to school. I just didn't care. I I still never did a piece of homework, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Um, what else happened? Oh, so yeah, so I had the issue with truancy court,
Mm.
and we ended up finding another alternative school. It's the St. Louis Park Alternative School.
And truthfully,
Um,
that's when you don't go to school, right? When you just keep
right.
skipping.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
truancy is just like, yeah, you're so many what do you call them?
Absences or something.
Absences.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, so yeah. So I did that, and then ninth grade, I started using marijuana, right?
Yeah.
And 10th grade, I went to a new school, alternative school. This is like my 5th school at this point, you know, in such a
Yeah.
short time, all in the same city pretty much. But the alternative school was nice because it was perfect actually,
Mhm.
because you could do schoolwork at school, right? And you didn't have homework, right? So that was the thing. If you wanted to do homework, you could get extra credit, and it went off a point system rather than um how they do it at regular school. I don't know how they like where you need a
Right.
certain amount of credits or whatever, but it was like
Oh, yeah, yeah,
points.
gotcha.
You
Yeah.
had to do points and then you got the credits
Mhm.
or whatever, however it worked. But basically you did the schoolwork at home or at school, and if you wanted to get extra points, you could take it home and do it. And I never did it. So it was perfect for me. And unfortunately, all of the other kids who are actually my friends, who
Yeah.
were not the best kids, best students, I should say, all went to this alternative school.
Right, yeah.
And I'm just at this point, I start getting into kind of poor behavior, like fighting, smoking,
Mhm.
stealing, just bad things. Like when I got my license, I would just like use my dad's car and just like
Mhm.
go do illegal activities you
Yeah.
shouldn't do as a teenager, you know? And unfortunately, uh 10 well, it would have been 11th grade towards the end of the year. They told us that the funding for our alternative school was gone and they're
Oh, wow.
closing down.
Oh,
And
wow.
because they worked off a point system,
Mhm.
because you could do more schoolwork or bring some home and catch up on your points to get the credits you need.
Yeah.
So I didn't have enough credits to pass 11th grade unless I did summer school, and I'm like, I'm not doing summer school. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't want to go back to the regular high school for 12th grade and have to do summer school twice. So
Mhm.
I'm like, screwed. I'm like, I'm going to drop out and get my GED. And my dad refused to let
Mhm.
me do that. So we found a third high school, um, another alternative school in Minneapolis.
Mhm.
Um, and it basically you paid for it.
Mhm.
You paid for a diploma. I
Oh,
never
wow.
did any
Okay.
schoolwork there either. And I actually ended up getting, this is when it got bad. Okay. So
Okay.
this is getting close to kind of the next catalyst of how my adult years started.
Mhm.
So I'm a terrible student, fighting, doing all these bad things. I basically stopped playing World of Warcraft at this point.
Yeah.
I met this girl at that new school, and her
Mhm.
brother went there too, and we were all cool at one point. But for some reason, I don't know what happened, but her brother got mad at me, and he was like, I felt like in a threatening way, he said something to me or whatever, and I'm like, all right, whatever. And I was hanging out with my friends because that school was very lax. Like you could come and go as you please. Like it was in Minneapolis. And there was kids as young as like 10 up to it was crazy. It was like a
Yeah.
different alternative school. Um, but I was with my friends, we're hanging out, doing whatever. I'm like, all right, well, let's go to my school and talk to this kid or whatever, you know?
Mhm.
And a couple of them were black. And the kid came outside and I think he got spooked or whatever. And he
Mhm.
said, you bring these N words for a safety net. And my friend just right when he heard that, just punched him in the face
Oh, shoot.
and chased him in the school. And I'm just standing there like, oh, this is not what I wanted to happen. You
Oh, no.
know, like
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
not how I wanted this to go down. And as he runs, chasing him in the school, hitting him, the other friends chased him too. This is horrible, by the way.
Uh-huh.
Not condoning violence at all, guys. This
Yeah,
is
yeah.
just my story. Like I couldn't make this stuff up. I wish I could.
Yeah.
Um, but and like I said, there's young kids in there, and
Mhm.
they're literally right when he runs in, they're at like the lunch table right to the left and see this happening. It was so unfortunate, dude. So unfortunate. Um, but then we just left, and
Mhm.
the next day we had like a meeting. Um, I think I don't think I went there. I think it was on like the phone or something with my dad, and they basically said I could still be enrolled in the school,
Mhm.
but um I can't attend it anymore. I can't be there physically.
Okay.
So
Like online type class or something?
no, just this is almost the end of the year. They're just
Oh,
like,
okay.
just keep paying us the monthly payment
Yeah.
and you'll get your
Okay.
diploma, basically.
Got it.
Still never did any schoolwork, which is crazy how I coasted through high
That's
school
so
like that.
crazy. Yeah.
Um, so- and I was upset because my dad said if you get kicked out, because I had told him what happened. He said if you
Yeah.
get kicked out, you got to go live with your mom. And my mom, like
Mm,
I said, she moved to the country in a
mm,
town with 500 people with her mom. But then she met a new guy who lived
okay.
kitty corner to her, and they're now married. So that's my new stepdad, who I love now.
Okay.
But
Okay.
at the time, it's
So she left the other one that you hated.
yes,
Okay.
yes. So this is however many years, 5 years later,
Yeah.
So
Right.
um, so wow. So yeah, I got kicked out, but my dad, but technically I was still enrolled. So I was like, I didn't really get kicked out, Dad. But he's
Yeah.
like, he knew I was like he's like, you're fighting, stealing, doing all this bad stuff. And he sent me away to my mom's house, and I was pissed,
Mm, yeah.
like really upset. And I had seen my mom a few times after what happened. Like we would see her every once in a while,
Hmm.
but we weren't like, I was still upset about everything, So but that time really helped me because this is so crazy. I haven't talked about all this stuff in so long. But anyway, so I get forced to live with my mom and my stepdad in this town with 500 people.
Yeah.
And then I started talking to this new girl, and that ended up being my first real girlfriend
Okay.
who lives far away, obviously, right? My mom lived in this small town about an hour and a half away. St. Louis Park, Steve, not St. Louis. St. Louis Park, Minnesota. But
Mm,
anyway, so let's see. So anyways, it kind of helped being away from all that stuff because I wasn't
yeah.
doing any bad stuff with my mom. It really did help in a way, but I was so upset. Um, but my mom at the time was like a manager at this restaurant, and she got me a job there washing dishes, which was my first real job
Mm,
and first time making any money. And my stepdad uh split. He put half the money down and I put half the money down on my first car. It was a Buick, I don't even remember. It was a nice car. It was an old Buick
yeah.
that had like 60,000 miles on it that an old man had.
Mm,
And he put half the money down and I was going to pay him back. And then I was like working and I was like, it wasn't that bad, but I was like working, saving money. And I wanted to go see the girl. I'm like, let me go see my girlfriend or whatever.
yeah.
And they're like, basically said no, even though I had my own car now, I had my license, and they said no. And then that same night, it was like a Saturday night or whatever, my mom's like drunk,
Mm,
and she has a drinking problem at some
yeah.
like party with my stepdad. And she's like, can you come pick me up? And mind you, this is in the middle of nowhere,
Yeah.
another half hour into the country where I don't know. And I
Wow.
was just pissed. So I called my dad and told him my mom was drinking. And then he agreed to let me come back. So this is like
Mm.
6 months after this or whatever. I don't know. But
Were you
um
still in high school at the time?
yeah, technically I was
Okay.
still
Okay.
enrolled. I
Okay.
had a few months left to high school. So maybe it was only like 3 months after.
Okay.
Because it was almost the end of the year
Right.
at the
Okay.
time when I moved back. Um and yeah, so he let me move. I just left. He let me move back, and then my mom, they ended up taking that car back, giving me the half of the money that I paid for it. They
Mm,
took the car back from me. They were
wow.
pissed. They were
Yeah.
they were pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were pissed because my dad didn't know my mom was still drinking. He thought she was
Mm,
sober.
yeah.
Anyway, it was it was messed up.
Yeah.
On both parts. On both parts, it was messed up. It wasn't just me, and it wasn't just her.
Yeah.
But that whole time where I'm in my mom's basement working, trying to come up with a plan because I watched my mom struggle. I watched my
Mhm.
dad struggle financially. I'm like, I don't want to do that. So this is like the defining moment of my life. I
Okay.
planned because I knew I was going to get a certain amount of money for my graduation
Okay.
because my dad said, if you graduate high school, I'll give you $1,000. Right. And I'm like, okay, So I'm like, when I graduate, I'm going to take this money, I'm gonna buy some weed,
Hmm.
and I'm going to make enough money so I can, delivering these things,
Yeah.
let's just say,
Yeah. I got you.
but make enough money so I can get a big screen TV. And this is back
Mm.
in 2010, mind you. So it's like a big screen TV is not as is crazy when you look at how much big screens cost now. They're like nothing compared. But
Yeah.
that was what I wanted. I was just like, I don't want to struggle. And basically, I moved back to my dad's, and I was still talking to this girl. And I graduated. I took that money. I did that, and I basically moved in with my girlfriend. I left home. I moved in with the
Mm.
girl in Chaska, and her family was very rich. This is my first time seeing real money, like
Hmm.
very rich. They own this metal company, like
Yeah.
I'd never seen money like that. So I'm like, okay, this is kind of like, and it's funny because I would use her dad had a company card. he, like a card you could use at the gas station,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I would drive. First of all, they took my car back, and I couldn't just take my dad's car. So I basically had her car. She was
Oh, okay.
16, I was 17. Um, and I don't think she had her license yet for whatever reason.
Hmm.
I think she still had to take the test.
Yeah.
But basically, I was allowed to take her car, which was actually a company car that he bought.
Yeah.
And it ended up, which is crazy, her dad had a drinking problem. And
Oh,
now,
wow.
because I'm basically living there, which is crazy because she's going to school still and he's letting me live in the house. It's kind of weird. But
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
he then relied on me to drive her sister, the younger sister, to hockey, which is funny how she's in hockey. But he
Huh.
relied because after work he would go drink and go to the casino, and
Mhm.
I basically became a parent at that point, right? Like,
Yeah.
and he gave me his gas card. I'm filling up her car. I'm selling it to my buddy. I'm like, here, fill up your tank, give me half.
Oh, shoot. There you
Yeah,
go.
and I'm like, I'm hustling up money at this point because this is a
Yeah.
new city away from my city where I was
Yeah.
doing all these bad things, getting in trouble, like getting tickets from the police, and I kind of blew up that business in a way.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, when you're in a certain type of um, industry, let's call it, all your friends become part of that, right? Good
Yeah.
and bad. So
Mhm.
unfortunately, all of my friends are addicts, right?
Mm.
And let's just say I took that business to do pretty well. I ended up um, not being with that girl after 2 years, and I moved to Minneapolis with one of my let's call him a co-CEO of that business.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, I just basically I left home at 17 because I graduated at 17 because I'm the youngest in my grade, right? So when I graduated, I was 17, and then I turned 18 that summer. But yeah, so now let's just fast forward to the point where everything falls apart in that
Mm.
because when you get women, money, and drugs at a young age, things are gonna go bad.
Yeah.
And I basically, and I'm probably at fault for a lot of this, but we moved into a new house. It was me, my brother, and two friends, and it was bad. Like
Mm.
everyone was upset at each other towards the end. And it's now the last month of our 12-month lease at this new house.
Yeah.
This is in, when would this have been? I just turned 21 at this point. So this is I'm 30 now. So whatever, 9 years ago,
9 years
10
ago.
years ago about.
Yeah.
So about a decade ago, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Um, and this is the last month of our lease. We had just cleaned this house we were renting.
Mhm.
Um, which is funny. My mom, stepdad, and dad came to clean this house. We all kind of, this is
Yeah.
3 years after that whole, you know what I mean? So we kind
Sure.
of worked
Yeah.
things out. Um, and we cleaned the house head to toe. It was bad. Um,
Yeah.
and my co-CEO who lived in the basement had already moved out. I basically wasn't living there. I was living with like a new girl part-time. My
Mm.
brother and my other friend were kind of living there, but not really.
Yeah.
Um, and it was St. Patrick's Day. This would have been like, yeah, I think 2011.
Mhm.
I went there with a girl um, and a friend. And this is the one day I had been back in like a month to that house. I get there that night, like I'm drunk on St. Patrick's Day. My friend
Mm.
drove.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think we all drove actually. We sleep in the basement because there's nothing down there. There's like a
Yeah.
mattress still, but my friend had moved out of there.
Yeah, right,
And
right.
I wake up in the morning and she's like, "Wake up, the police are here." I'm like, "What?" And they're like, I can hear upstairs like police search warrant. I'm like,
Wow.
"Oh no." This
Shoot.
is like the craziest, scariest point of my life, right?
Yeah.
So, and I have like no shirt on. I grab a blanket, put it over me. I start walking towards the stairs to like the downstairs, and
Right.
there's police coming down the stairs at the same time, 3 or 4 of them with rifles in my face.
Oh,
Get on the ground. I'm
shoot.
like, like, put your hands up, get on the ground. I'm like, oh my God. So I put my hands up, get on the ground. And they kind of like, I don't want to say roughed me up a little bit, but they were pretty rough about it.
Sure.
And with
Yeah.
the girl and my friend handcuffed us, brought us upstairs. And yeah, man, they didn't find anything. They had dogs. You cannot understand how upset they had. I don't know if someone snitched or what. I still to this day don't know what happened, but they had
Right.
a joint task force between Hennepin and Anoka County
Mhm.
just for this. I don't know how long they've been working on this case, but they had a
Yeah.
joint task force and I'm like, they're like asking the other 2 people's names, but they didn't ask. I was like, "Why don't you want to know my name?" They're like, "We know
Yeah.
who you are, Thomas." I'm like, "Holy crap," because I kind of stepped back a little at this point. And like I said, they didn't find anything in the house. They're like, "Where are the pounds of weed at?" I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about." You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and at that
You
point,
so you guys had a pretty big operation going, huh?
yeah,
Wow, okay.
yeah, yeah.
Anyways, wow.
Yeah, this is long past the statute of limitations anyways at this point. But yeah, they
Yeah,
were
yeah.
looking for, let's just say they were looking for pounds of weed. And
Yeah.
they
Wow.
found they found there's like a vacuum sealer that I had there. So it's
Mhm.
like they're like, "Yeah, we're at the right spot." I'm like, "No, that's my stepdad. He owns a farm. That's for vacuum sealing meat." Like I was being kind of like a smart ass because at this point they're like not finding anything.
That's crazy.
I'm like, they had dogs and everything, bro. I'm like, oh my God. Because I had other things in the house, but they weren't looking for those other things because, I was an addict, like I'm using
Yeah.
these things. But,
Yeah.
um, so I was like, I could have gone to jail for years at that point. And, and I didn't. They left. They arrested my friend. He had what's called Suboxone in his
Mhm.
wallet. And Suboxone is a thing to
It was like
like
wean off,
basically,
right?
huh?
Is it like to wean off?
Yeah, to wean off heroin, basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And he had a
I'm familiar with
subscription,
that.
not a subscription. What's it called? Uh, is it where you go to the doctor to get it?
Yeah, it's a prescription.
Prescription, a
Yeah, yeah.
prescription. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like when you're trying to get off of it, kinda
yeah,
'cause you can't just get off it.
right. But he didn't
Yeah.
have his prescription with him, so they arrested him for it.
Mhm.
He got released. But yeah, so they arrested my friend, and I'm just sitting there like, holy crap! Like to this day, I can't believe that. Like, so at that point, I and the crazy part is they smashed the door in, and the landlord of that place, I just told him the truth. I was like, dude, the police raided the house. This is the last month because we could have
Yeah.
got if that wasn't the last month, we would have got an eviction on a record. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And he was so cool about it. He's like, yeah, don't worry about it. Like he even gave us our damage deposit back, which is crazy.
Oh, shoot.
Um, but sometimes just being honest is the right thing.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so at that point, I kind of went off the radar because I'm like, okay, in the Minnesota, they got a 3-year statute of limitation on drug charges.
Mm.
They're obviously looking at me, even though I'm not doing it at this point,
Yeah.
um, because we kind of had an internal beef between my best friend, co-CEO.
Mm.
Basically, it was a bad deal. But that's when you're young, dumb, and money is around you. It's
Sure.
just
Yeah.
crappy, dude.
Yeah. Well,
Especially because those,
especially that type of business,
yeah.
it's pretty dirty, so it's like
It's dirty,
it's
but
the
it's
wild, wild
unfortunate
west.
because that was, my best friend who back in when I first got out of high school, that's we built it.
Yeah.
And it was really sad. And we all got addicted to heroin and coke. Um, and it was bad. And I guess I skipped over one part. The when I was at the first apartment that I moved from my girlfriend before this house,
Mm,
my uncle passed away
mm,
at the heart attack as well, just like my grandpa. And that was like my closest relative, you know. My dad lived with my uncle when they first got actually lived with my uncle for like my uncle had a house, my dad moved in when they got divorced, and then my dad and my uncle ended up getting a different duplex together. So I lived with my uncle basically and my dad. And I was probably closer with my uncle than I was with my dad at that time.
yeah.
And he passed away. He was 44. His 44. It was 3 days before his 44th birthday. And at that point I moved out of that apartment to go back to the duplex to where my dad lived to help him move out, and then we moved into that house
Okay.
that just got raided. So, which is messed up. And by the way, I was supporting my older brother. He had a really bad drinking problem. I would,
Mm,
I was paying for his rent.
yeah.
My older brother, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So
Which is interesting because he like protected you when you're like
yeah,
7 or 8. Yeah.
yeah. So we always, and I didn't find out till I was actually like 12 or 13 that he was my half brother,
Hmm.
which is crazy because my dad adopted him when he was little. His
Oh
dad
wow.
just was, and yeah, it's kind of messed up.
Hmm.
But anyways, so uh let's see. So yeah, I went off the radar. I got rid of my cell phone. I moved in with a friend of mine who had a condo in a different city, you
Hmm.
know. I got on his company's phone plan. So there was nothing in my name. I'm like kind of scared at this point, but I'm not doing anything wrong. I got sober. Um and I got a job
Hmm.
at a lumberyard. My dad does sales at this lumberyard. I worked out in the lumberyard. And I got
Hmm.
into like the best shape of my life at this point.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I was on lunch one day and I saw an old friend of mine who I used to help out. Um, and he had just moved to the same city where this lumberyard was.
Hmm.
And it was right by the lumberyard. And he's had heroin one day and I got back on it.
Hmm.
And this is when it got real bad. Um, Basically, over the next year and a half, maybe,
Hmm.
I ruined the relationship with the person I had just moved in with. I got my own apartment.
Yeah.
I got back with this girl that I used to be with, and she was like a kind of a leech.
Mm.
Um, and I got a $20,000 loan from the bank, personal loan, to invest in a business
Hmm.
with my friends. It was a blackjack card counting business.
Mm.
My friends worked at a casino and we all counted cards. This is like what I did on my side period time too, like played blackjack, counted cards,
Mm.
and I just basically invested in the bankroll.
Mm. Okay.
Um, and it was making decent money, but then the owner or co-owner decided to change the percentages of how much investors got and players got, and I was still working at this point using as
Hmm.
well. So I just withdrew my money. And now I had all this money, moved in with this new apartment with this girl, quit the lumber yard. I started working delivering pizza,
Hmm.
but like barely worked there. But it made decent money doing that. But basically, I had a lot of free time and I started using IV heroin use, which is intravenous, right? Like
Oh
shooting
wow.
up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so it got really bad, and I had my first 2 overdoses in 1 month.
Oh,
Yeah, and the first one, um, I'm with that friend who moved to the city. He got kicked. He actually got evicted from his apartment, and I let him move in with my apartment. Um, but if anyone knows Minnesota, there's a big tunnel. It's the Lowry Tunnel, um, and it's like the longest tunnel in Minneapolis. But basically, we picked up, we used, and we're driving back. And then I wake up in an ambulance, right? And he told me once I talked to him later that day, he looked over, he was talking to me, and then I just stopped replying. He looked over and I was like turning white or blue or whatever. Um, and my phone was on 1%. He somehow remembered the code to my phone, called 911, and they showed up.
Wow.
And hit me with Narcan, which is the
Yeah.
revival.
Right.
And they towed my car. He had to walk, and he ended up finding a charger for my phone. And when I was done at the emergency room, I called him, and I don't remember. I don't even know how I got home. I think I had someone pick me up, and then I had to go pick my car up from the tow lot. And then I overdosed again, like that same month. And yeah, woke up in an ambulance again. Same story, dude. Like,
But
and I
someone was
think,
there to call the ambulance both
yes,
times?
every time I was trying to be with someone. I didn't want to die, but I also didn't really care at this point. I'm like,
That's
I
crazy,
lost
man.
all my friends, and I'm just like upset, like, yeah. Anyways, so
That's crazy,
um,
man.
it is sad in a way, because
Yeah, it
I've
is.
also seen a lot of my friends die,
Mhm.
a lot of people from high school, like drugs took over. This is in the early ages of this epidemic. You look at it
Mhm.
now with fentanyl, it's
Mhm.
just getting so bad.
Mhm.
And this is like the start of it. And we didn't know anything about fentanyl, but this is what it was.
Yeah.
Um, and I think I had one more overdose in an ambulance. So 3 overdoses in 2 months in an ambulance. And the last time I was at my house, I did some, and I woke up, I think it was like 7 or 8 hours later, on the floor. I looked at the clock, and I was on the table, or like on a chair at the table, and I woke up on the floor 8 hours later, just no memory of what happened.
Yeah.
And I just woke up.
Mhm.
Don't know how I woke up. You could say God, you could say whatever you want. It was crazy. I just woke up, and I knew I had to get clean, right? It was bad. So I go to treatment.
Mhm.
Um, and see, I don't know how deep I want to go in this, but
No,
basically, before I
it's
go to
good.
treatment, I'm living at this apartment. Now I'm basically by myself. The girl's gone. I kicked her out. The friend, I think he had to turn himself in. He
Mhm.
had a warrant in that other city where my ex lived. That's where I met him. And
Mhm.
Chaska is where it is. Not that I care now, but um, he had to turn it. So I'm all alone now. And I'm like, I got to get out of this house. It was littered with dirty utensils, we'll say.
Mhm.
It was just disgusting. It was bad. And I'm a very clean person, but it was bad, man.
Yeah.
And basically, I decided I wanted to go to treatment. Um, and I go to my grandma's house. My grandma basically was like, so I tell everyone finally I want to go to treatment, because no one really knew the extent of this yet. Um, and I lied to my dad because I was on his insurance. He asked me why he got a bill for an ambulance, because he only got one of them so far. The next 2 are going to be coming soon, because this is all within this time period. Um, and I lied about so no one really knew to the extent. They thought they knew what I was doing before all this, like with the weed and stuff, but this is
Yeah.
way more serious, and everyone's scared at this point when I told them all. Um, and my dad didn't know what to do. He was like, he didn't understand, because like he's like, no, you need to go to treatment today. I'm like, I'm not ready, and it takes some time to get a bed as well.
Mhm.
Um, but basically, my grandma, my dad's mom, she's much older, and she was like, you can come live with me,
Mhm.
but this is for like a week only. It
Yeah.
might
Yeah.
even been like, yeah, I think it was like a week until I could get into the bed, and until I was like ready. So I think it was like a week or 5 days or something. But she said you can only use in front of me. So she would go with
Mm.
me, pick it up, we would go back home, and she would sit there basically wiping blood off my arm for me, because I was so
Wow.
messed up. It really
Wow.
bad. She was making sure I didn't die,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's always been the most supportive for everything that no one should have to do, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, so I went to treatment the first time. I wish I could say it ended there, but bro, it got so bad. Like, and then I met this girl who I truly loved.
Mhm.
after treatment while I was at the sober house. And that's the first time I ever considered marriage. And it was just bad. But basically, I started working at a casino because I liked counting cards and doing blackjack. I ended up getting a job at this casino, and that's something she didn't really agree with because people at the casino were drinking, right? And I never had a problem with drinking. But that was part of the issue, I guess, as I started working there. Basically, that relationship went bad, and I used that as a reason to start using. Really, I started using towards the end of the relationship because anyways, there were some issues with us. But I stopped by my friend's house before I was going to meet her for dinner, and he brought down some for me. And at this point, I was clean. And it was my first time using again. And I just did a little bit. I start driving, and I wake up in an ambulance again. That's just how it goes, right? And apparently, I got all the way to the exit of this condo, and luckily my car didn't roll onto the street. It rolled onto like the side of the curb or whatever. And then someone came who was behind me. They're just like waiting for me to go, and I'm not going. So they came, they pulled me out of my car, called an ambulance. Like if someone didn't find me right there, gone. So, and this happened again in St. Paul where I dropped someone off. I'm in the car, and this is like a year later at this point because I got a DUI for that. I actually beat that case. The cops were a lot upset with me. That was like a nicer part of town. They weren't cool. But in St. Paul, same thing happened where someone found me in my car. It's like in front of a parking garage, and I'm actually driving a manual now. So if you're like not on level ground, like if you're on level ground or like it's going backwards, your car can just roll because you're in neutral, right? In a manual car. But it was like it went down, and then there was like an up. So I was kind of like leveled. And someone found me again. And bro, I think in total I got hospitalized 7 or 8 times. There was another like 4 or 5 times where my friends hit me with Narcan. Like I'm talking double-digit overdoses, and it's not fair sometimes. And I'm talking also car accidents, bro. Like where I like fell asleep at the wheel. I ran into a tree one time. I never hurt anyone. I never hit anyone, and I never got hurt, which is crazy.
That is
and
crazy.
I always say like my grandpa and my uncle were watching over me for sure. You could say God, whatever. I mean, St. Paul, Minnesota is where the last overdose was.
And when was this?
Let's see. This is probably 7 years ago, 6 years ago, 6.5 years ago. And I tried treatment 2 times. It didn't work. I ended up getting on methadone.
Okay.
Which is kind of like
is it like Suboxone?
It's like Suboxone.
Okay.
And people in the sober community talk crap about methadone because they say, "Oh, you're going to get high from it." But if you're using heroin, all it is it keeps you from getting sick. You're not getting high, but people abuse it. So, but it was the only thing that got me clean, you know? And that was what got me clean. I was living in St. Paul with a new girl. She was using, it was bad, and I left. And I moved in with my friend, and I was paying $500 a month working at the casino, and I was making like 50, 60K a year. And I was still working at the casino before that while I was using. But bro, it was so bad. Like I'd get paid like, let's call it, I don't know, $2,000 after taxes every 2 weeks. Before my next payday, because I was spending probably close to $80 a day on this stuff. So before my next payday, I would every 2 weeks, I had a friend at work who would borrow me $50, and I would also pawn my cell phone. I think I would get $80 or $100 for my cell phone, and now my next paycheck, I'd buy it back. This was endless.
Wow,
endless.
Dude.
That's how broke I was, right?
That's crazy.
I'm talking like I got down to 135 pounds. I was sick.
Man,
135 pounds when I walked into the methadone clinic.
You probably didn't even eat that much either, right?
No, I didn't eat. And when I did eat, I would throw up. I was sick, dude. I was very sick.
That's sad,
it was bad. It was very bad. But yeah, there's a good ending to it, I guess. You know, like I finally get to this new house where I'm living on my own, and I started working, saving money. I met a new girl. Women are my catalyst, dude. This is why that girl who I was really in love with, I've had trouble connecting with women ever since. But
Mm,
that's on me because I've cheated and I've dealt with cheating. And it was an issue because I didn't necessarily ever cheat first, but I was very sneaky with, and man, I don't want to hate on women or anything, but the women I've been with all kind of did me dirty in a way. And it's
mm,
probably partly because of me not being fully available, um, emotionally, which is
yeah.
probably what it is. So that's on me. But yeah, I would like look at their phones because I was like, why is this like it felt weird? And after about a year with someone, like you can tell when things change, you know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
instead of just ending it right there, we both end up cheating. And it's just
You
unhealthy.
kept
So
going. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I never saw a working relationship in my life. You know what I mean? Like my
Yeah.
parents weren't in a good relationship. So anyway, so I start saving up money, and this is let's skip to well, okay, so one of my best friends who lived with me in St. Paul at that girl's house, before I moved to this new house, passed away. He was 21. Um, Basically, all my close friends at this point now have died.
Wow.
My brother passed away in 2020. Um, he accidental drug overdose. My best friends. I've dealt with so much death, which is so unfortunate because I look back and it's a struggle for me because I've had so many chances, and you see people just gone, in one time,
Yeah.
and it's so sad. And that's the true, um, the most painful part of drugs and alcohol is that's where you're ending. You're lucky if you could end up in jail, because you're just gonna die if you keep using.
Yeah.
Um, and basically, I in 2019, well, really in 2018, I got sober. I think what year was it? I think it was 2016. Let's see, beginning of 2017. I have it written down. I'm
Yeah.
not like most sober people. So many people, I'm just different in so many ways. Like I don't count the days because I try not to think about it too deeply. Because I remember when I first got sober, basically you count the sober date to the day you go to these AA meetings. And if you
Mm,
even took a sip of alcohol, even if you're not an alcoholic and you just like drugs, because it's all addiction, right? And I
yeah.
understand that. But it's like, basically they're like, oh, you're reset to day zero. That's like,
Oh,
that makes you want to get high, So I'm
yeah.
just like, I
Already
don't
messed
think
up.
about
I'm just gonna do it anyways.
exactly. So
Yeah.
like I don't, and they don't agree with methadone. So again, this
Mm,
is kind of probably my issue with authority. And I've had so many run-ins with authority and bad manners. But anyway, so I just felt kind of like I got to do everything on my own. So 2017 is probably when I really started paying attention to YouTube. I've always watched YouTube.
mm,
Um, but I watched kind of the come up of a lot of these creators. Vine was a thing, and then Vine started dying, and I watched the biggest people on Vine transfer that audience to YouTube, and I had that in my head. Um, and then I started seeing things about drop shipping, right? And I think you know about drop shipping as well,
yeah.
Jonathan.
I've done it. Yep.
Um, yeah, but so that's how I got started into the online world. I started seeing things on YouTube, just watching, and drop shipping was the first business I tried online, and I made a little bit of money. I think I probably broke even all in all. Probably lost money after spending the money on the courses and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, like I first learned about making money online through drop shipping, and I saw, I think it was Peter Prue.
Yeah.
You know what that is?
Now, of course I do. Yeah.
Yeah, Peter Prue, Ecom Empire Builders, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw a video of him about Shopify sucks. You should use ClickFunnels for your drop shipping store.
I remember that. Yeah.
David, I'm in Minnesota. Is where I'm based. Um, but yeah, so he's like, you should use ClickFunnels for your Shopify store. You can make way more money with these one-click upsells. And I'm like, oh, that sounds amazing. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So I but before I ever did that, I went down the ClickFunnels rabbit hole. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
um, so uh basically I got to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just start doing YouTube. I've watched
Mhm.
these videos. I deal cards at a casino. I talk to people all day. I'm like, I could talk to a camera. It's not as
Yeah.
easy as it sounds, but once you get into it, it gets easier.
Yeah.
But
Of
it's always scary starting something new, though, in general.
course. Yeah.
But yeah, so I took a while. I took probably 6 months to decide of just like watching courses, testing out ClickFunnels, learning, just like I'm either going to start YouTube as dropshipping or affiliate marketing. And I had to pick my and I saw a video from Spencer Meekum, and that was what swayed my decision. I don't even know if he knows that.
Mhm.
But that's what swayed my decision to go do affiliate marketing. And that's how I started YouTube, which is
Yeah.
like a long-winded, that was an hour. Wow. I hope people enjoyed that. It was kind of a messed up story about my
I
upbringing.
I think people really do, man. People are still here. They're commenting. Are you guys enjoying this so far? This is, I mean, I know for sure, like, you definitely even spoke to me because I've had, not me, but like I have people in my family with,
Right.
they're still going through it. So, yeah, man, I actually really appreciate you going into that personally.
For sure.
So, thank you.
No problem. I'm happy. Hopefully it helps at least a few people. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
so
But
yeah. So basically, I guess, do you want me to just go into the whole YouTube stuff now? Like
sure,
how I
man. I
started
mean,
on that?
it's a quick question though before you go into
Yeah.
that. It's kind of funny because I went down the ecom rabbit hole too before I got into ClickFunnels and that whole the whole world. And I would kind of watch the same guys I think you were kind of talking about. Did
Yeah.
you ever do the funnel, the lion bracelet funnel? You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? Did you do that?
Yes.
Dude, that's
Yes.
so funny. Because every time I talk to it's like we've done the same stuff, which is
Yes.
hilarious.
Yes, exactly.
My first funnel ever was an ecom funnel for a lion bracelet. And it was
Yes.
like an upsell. Then you buy 2 lion bracelets,
Yes.
then like 10 or something like that. But
Yeah.
anyways, I just
It's
thought it was funny.
exactly, yes. That the one product that actually made me money, I tested a bunch um before I did that stuff because that was the kind of the ClickFunnels thing. But before that, the one product that made me money um was this posture corrector.
Okay. I
So
didn't do
it's
that
like
one.
you wear it and it's supposed to like help you sit
Yeah.
up straight.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
remember that
that
one.
sold like crazy, but I didn't really know what I was doing with YouTube ads. I was using Shopify for this, so it's
Yeah.
like, yeah. So that's kind of why I was like, how to make more profit, or whatever. I don't know. That's how I found ClickFunnels, which is
Yeah.
funny.
That's
Um,
exactly how I found ClickFunnels. That's hilarious, man.
that's
What
so
do
funny. I
Yeah.
think it's crazy how like it was a lot different then. Like I feel like there wasn't as much content as there is now, and
Yeah.
I love to see all these comments though. That's amazing.
Yeah. There's a lot of people on, man. I mean, I know you can't see the views, but we got, with all platforms, couple hundred views. So the
Good.
comments are coming from YouTube, Facebook groups.
Oh, they come from all of them?
Yeah, I haven't connected there. One, two. I have it. We're streaming
Oh,
on
I see. Oh,
eight
that's
different
so
platforms.
cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
So
well, let's get into the more positive stuff now. Not that that's not positive or like a positive ending, but yeah, I mean, it's everyone has um, negative things in their life, but it's about how you use them, like
yeah.
um, it's hard for me to deal with all that death, especially from my grandpa to my uncle to my best friends to my brother, like my only brother. Like this stuff is hard, dude.
Mhm.
It's every day it's hard. And it's
Yeah.
just the unfortunate truth about addiction. It's where it's going to end, unfortunately, especially now with all the fentanyl. You're just
Mhm.
going to die. Um,
Yeah.
so you just really have to want to live, and want to do better. Um, because I guess we'll get into the more positive part because look, I was I don't like I didn't know what I was gonna do, but I knew I didn't want to struggle
Mhm.
financially. I hated
Yeah.
my job, you know. I felt like they didn't appreciate me. I was really good at dealing blackjack, but I didn't
Mhm.
get appreciated. They
Yeah.
didn't care about me. If I
Right.
wanted time off, I couldn't get it.
Mhm.
I could request it, that's not gonna get approved. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
I remember those days, man.
Yeah, man. Like I gotta ask to go pee, you know? Like I gotta
Mhm.
ask for permission to use the bathroom.
Yeah.
Um, and I just didn't feel like that was for me. You know, I never wanted to feel that way. I felt like I was, you know, being controlled in a way. Like I couldn't do anything I wanted to do. And I get you got to make money. Like don't get me wrong, like I worked my butt off and I
Yeah.
because I worked for tips at the casino. So like I worked hard and I saved as much money as I could. I lived with a roommate. I only paid $500 for rent. I did everything I could to save money so because I wanted to start a business and I wanted to have the money to be able to if I had to leave my job, I don't want to just be broke living in my car again, you know, for a couple days here and there. Like, no, not fun, you know?
Yeah. Mhm.
Um, so basically I started YouTube, right? And
When was
I
this?
this the first video I ever posted was it was April 2019.
Wow. Okay,
Um,
mine was May 2019. So very cool.
really?
Yeah, first video.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, so I guess April 2019, right? I posted my first video, and I had at this point I had been January 2019 is when I started my LLC,
Okay.
um, which a lot of people don't do. Which I'm not like a financial advisor, but it's like it's better to just get started if it's gonna hold you up. Like, don't let anything hold you up in business or anything. Just do it, you know, and figure it out later, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but I did start my LLC before because I've always been more, I guess you could say, meticulous about how I go about things. I have pretty bad OCD about a lot of things. So I have to do things a certain way. I have to really thoroughly research it, and that's like a blessing and a curse in
Mm.
some ways. You know what I mean? I think my brain works a lot like how an artist brain works, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Um, which isn't good sometimes, but sometimes it is. And I'm definitely not an artist, but you get what I'm saying, I think. Um,
I think you are in a different way, though. You're a
yeah,
creator, you
exactly.
know? So, yeah, I would say you are.
Yeah. So kind of like that is how my brain works.
Mhm.
And more strategical, you know, because
Mhm.
it's just that's how I grew up playing these strategy games, doing chess. Like I was in the chess club when I was younger. Like all these things, it's just my brain works that way. So it's not just one move, it's you know, let's do 10 moves type thing.
Yeah.
Um, so basically before I started, so I had like, you know, those 4 months where I basically created content and I wanted like a vault of content. I think I don't know, I made maybe a month's worth of content.
Mhm.
Um, something like that. And and this is like I don't know if I still feel this way because sometimes it's like some of the content I made was just like because okay, you post a video, right?
Yeah.
It might do good or bad. But let's say it does really bad. Like I made
Mhm.
like probably five of those videos I made were about ClickFunnels, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And they weren't doing very good, you
Mhm.
know? But the videos are already done, so I might as well post them. I don't know what to improve because I didn't look at my analytics or anything like
Yeah.
that. So I'm like so it was let's just say it was a slow start figuring
Yeah. Of
things out just
course.
with anything though, you know what I mean? Like and it's hard, man. I'm working a job.
Mhm.
Um, my at this point, my roommate, who I lived with now for I don't know 2 years, started using drugs, meth,
Oh,
um,
shoot.
which I was never really into, anyways. And we had a hot tub right outside my window in the backyard, and the hot tub had a sub in it, so you could listen to music. And he's off on the weekend. I work on the weekends at a casino.
Yeah.
So on
Yeah.
the weekends, he would be in the hot tub with his girlfriend playing loud music late at night. And it's right outside my window where my bed is. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I'm like, dude, I get you're off work on the weekend, but I work on the weekend. I got to wake up early. Can you please not play the music so loud? And I asked 3 times. I said, dude, if you do that again, I'm moving out. I'm
Yeah.
moving out. And he did it again. And I just left, dude. I just left. And this was right after I posted my first video. My first video went live.
Yeah.
I left. And yeah, it's I moved in with my dad at that point into his condo.
Mhm.
And let's see. I think we lived there for like another 2 years, and he ended up selling the condo, and man, let's see, about a year. Well, he lived there longer. I lived there for about a year. Um, anyway, so let's call it 2019 to 2020.
Okay.
Well, it was after the pandemic. Shoot, I don't even remember, dude. The pandemic really messes you up, doesn't it? Like,
Yeah, it
it's
was like a
crazy.
blip. It's a blip in the matrix.
It really is. So basically, if you go to my YouTube channel, you can kind of see like the first video where I was at my old house, like the background, and yeah. Anyway, so you can kind of see the transition of when I was at different places. But I was still at the condo in 2020 during the pandemic for about half of it, I think. Yeah. But basically, posted my first video April 2019. And by the end of 2019, I had 400 subscribers. And a lot of people, especially like in my group, like will complain about having like, like, oh, I'm a month in, I only got 20 subscribers or whatever. I'm like, that's not bad. That's probably where about I was, the first month. The thing about YouTube is like it kind of builds on itself.
Yeah.
And my
It's
first
exponential.
month,
It's exponential.
exponential. Yeah. In my first month or first year, first 8 months, I had 400 subscribers, or I might have ended the year with 500. And I made a video, my 2020 goals and resolutions. And I basically wanted to make $2,000 in passive income because I think I had made my first dollar already. It took me 6 months, by the way, to make my first dollar.
I think we were both promoting Legendary at the time.
Yeah. I got into Legendary Marketer about 5 or 6 months in, and I made my first dollar with Legendary Marketer.
Yeah.
And before that, I had bought a mentor. I had promoted his program, and it didn't work out for me. And I felt like quitting. I'm not going to lie. So like, if you're feeling like, oh, nothing's working for me, I feel like quitting, and you're only a month in, just quit now. Like,
I feel
like
that, bro.
It takes time. Like, you can't be willing to give up after 1 month. If you're going to give up after 1 month, you're not going to make it. You have to just keep going, because it took me 6 months to make a single dollar. And look, I'm working a job. And right after the job, I'd get home and I would work on the business until I went to sleep. I would wake up, work a job, endless grind, And yeah, if I had a kid at that point, it would have been tougher. So I understand if you have a family, but you don't need to spend 6 hours editing a video. Like, you don't need to do the things that I did. You can definitely do things a lot faster now, especially with short form content. But you have to be willing to put in that work and last, because like I said, 6 months to make $1, and that was with Legendary Marketer. And I think I made like $500 my last month, like in December. And I was like, I want to make 2,000, or it might have been a little more, but I think I said 2,000 a month passive income, because then I could quit my job and at least double that with twice the amount of time. So that was kind of the reason for 2,000. And I was like, I want 1,500 YouTube subscribers, because I was like 3 times my 500. And then January, you know what happened? I think I took a leave from my job for a month. A leave from my job. It was I think it was the beginning or like middle of December to like the middle of January.
Okay.
Because I'm ready to quit my job. Like, people are pissing me off at the job. I'm ready to quit. I take a 30-day leave because I could legally do that without any like doctor stuff or anything. I just said I needed a mental health break, and they're like, okay, or whatever. And I posted a video every day for those 30 days, every single day. I used a lot of the videos that I had like saved up from like way back when that I never posted if I didn't finish one. But like, I posted a video every day for 30 days. If you look at my channel, you could see, well, it's hard to see now because it says like a year ago or 3 years ago. Jeez. Is it 2023 right now? Holy crap.
Yeah.
I'm getting old. Wow. It's 2023. Wow.
I know, dude. I was looking at that too. I'm like, dang, I've been in this
way more than a decade ago.
Years.
That stuff I was talking about. Anyways, I had my back. I forget what year it is, man. That's crazy.
It is crazy.
Anyways, What was I just talking about?
You're talking about you just quit your you
Leave of
a leave
absence.
of
Yeah.
absence. Yeah.
So, anyways, I posted that every day and it was going well. I go back to work and I was only there. So, this is now like maybe the end of January. And in February, I think is the first time I heard about COVID, dude. You started
Mm.
hearing about this. Like, you're hearing people talk about it. They're like, I think they're going to close the casino down. I'm like, they're never going to do that. Are you kidding me? You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Because my job was not for the employees. They didn't care about us at all.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, and it's worse because like they pay us minimum wage. You know, we work on
Mm.
tips, so they really don't care.
Yeah.
Um, so so anyways, I I really wanted to quit, but I stuck it out. And luckily, because come March, they COVID hit like a ton of bricks, the whole
Yep.
world, right? Shut everything down. This is crazy time to be alive. I mean, everyone knows how crazy. If you think back, it's crazy. It's really crazy. Like even looking back, just thinking about like that was really scary.
Yeah.
Um, like when you think about how you felt, like it was scary. Like, um, but it worked out perfectly for me. And
Yeah.
it's tough to say I'm grateful for it because anyway, I'll get a little more into it. But yeah, so like they furloughed all the employees basically, like put us on like a leave or whatever. And we got unemployment, but then like a week later they emailed us and said they're basically firing everyone. Like
Oh
they're
shoot.
letting everyone go. Um they had some reason for it, like insurance. I don't know what it was, but
Yeah.
basically whatever. We still get unemployment or whatever. And they were giving us at the time an extra $500 a week for unemployment because of
Mm.
COVID. So I'm now at this point, I'm all in on my business. I'm double dipping unemployment, starting to
Yeah.
make more money. Bro, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Um, and by the
But
way,
that at that point you're forced to like, I gotta make this happen. There's
yeah,
no way out of it.
exactly.
Yeah.
And about a month later, I find out my ex-girlfriend is pregnant. I'm
Dang.
like, what? I'm like, I thought she was kidding. You know what I mean? Because after we broke up, it was one time, bro. That's all it takes. One time. If you don't think that saying is true, it's true. It's true. Um, so I'm scared. Real life
Mhm.
scared. I don't think I've ever been that scared. Nothing in my life had scared me that as much as that moment. I
Yeah.
cried. I was scared. Like
Wow.
that's how scared I it's not like, oh, I'm married, I'm happy, I'm ready to have a kid. I didn't want a kid. If I'm
Hmm.
being honest with you. I did not want a kid. I
Yeah.
thought my life was over. It ended up being the biggest blessing in my life to this day.
Hmm.
Swear to God. And that's crazy how it's like the things you don't expect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, because unfortunately, I had my daughter and I was there for her the whole time. We're not together anymore, and we weren't at that point either. But
Yeah.
I brought her to every appointment. Um,
Mm.
I I was there I was there for the whole thing. I'm like, if I'm gonna be a dad, I'm gonna be a good dad. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Uh-huh.
I'm not gonna be one of those deadbeat baby daddies or whatever.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I was there the whole time. I did everything with her, for her, anything, you know.
Mm.
And this is in between COVID and a month before the baby was due, month and a half. We have a what do you call it? When you have for the women a baby shower.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, it's usually for the women, but it was for the whole family.
Yeah. Sure.
Um, and this is this would have been the month. This would have been October 2020,
Hmm.
and this is like the second wave of COVID is coming, right?
Right. I remember that.
And my uncle canceled, my other uncle. And he said, "Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to come. This uh,
Mm.
he's a little older." But I'm like, I told Tarina, my daughter's mother, I was like, I
Mm.
think we should cancel it. And this was like 2 or 3 days before the baby shower. She's like, I'm not canceling it. I'm like, okay, all right. We have the baby shower. 11 people got COVID at the baby shower.
Oh shoot.
Me, her, my dad, uh, a bunch of people from her family, a few people from my family. We all got COVID. No one really got sick except for me. I got blood clots, and it was so bad. I told that story before, but it was just bad. I got blood
Yeah.
clots. I had to go to the hospital 3 times. It was pretty
Oh, that
scary.
sucks, man.
Pretty
Yeah.
scary. A month before my baby's supposed to be born, and I'm got COVID.
Mhm.
Um, and then the baby's born early.
Mm.
She's at her cabin, and she calls me. She's like, I gotta come home. I think I'm going into labor or whatever, you know? And I'm like, you're kidding me. Like, I'm still like just getting over all this COVID stuff.
Mhm.
And like, I don't even think I'm going to be allowed in the hospital because
You're
they
right.
say, has it been 30 days since you've had COVID? It hadn't. But I wasn't about to say yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, like it's already bad enough. Like you make us wear masks during the delivery. She had to wear a mask the whole delivery. You know what I mean? Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Um,
Well, we had a baby in May of 2021. We had to too, but we just did it.
yeah.
Were they
Yeah,
pretty
she
strict
took
with
hers
you
off a
guys?
couple times. I'm like, this is
You gotta
stupid.
breathe. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But still
anyways.
to this date, I have a lot of resentment towards COVID also, although it did help me blow my business up. But because, okay, so I'll start with this. So before the baby, TikTok was started being a thing, right? And I started
Mhm.
posting on TikTok at the end of 2019, but really it started blowing up in the beginning of 2020.
Yeah.
So after I left my job, I really focused on TikTok and using TikTok to promote my YouTube channel. And this is
Mhm.
like a hack. A lot of people just use TikTok, which works good. It wasn't used to be like a thing because it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to use TikTok as my only platform because it was still new, you know? Um, but basically now it's a lot different. Short form, people are killing it with just short form content. That's like amazing. I think it's such a good opportunity. But at the
Yeah.
time, because in my mind, if you remember, I said Vine was a thing, right? And Vine was
Mhm.
basically TikTok, if you don't know, it's short form. And
Yeah.
people were taking their audience from Vine and transferring it over to YouTube. Logan Paul, Jake Paul, David Dobrik, the
Mhm.
biggest creators on there all came from Vine. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do that. You know, so I'm like, that was my whole plan. I'm gonna use TikTok to promote my YouTube channel. So what I did is I'd make a YouTube video, let's say how to make money, blah, 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 right? And
Yeah.
then on TikTok, I would make a 60-second version of that video. And for each step in the video, I would have a step on TikTok and just briefly explain it. And then at the end of the TikTok, I'd say, watch the full video on my
Yeah.
YouTube channel. And it was the best side hustle series, is what I started doing. And that blew up. Like TikTok changed the game for me. Like I
Mm.
got millions of views on TikTok. And I grew from like, I think I had like maybe 600 or 700 subscribers at the beginning of uh, February, we'll call it.
Mhm.
And by the end of 2020, I had like 70,000. You know what I'm saying? So like
That's crazy, man.
it blew up. And the worst part of that is um my brother wanted to come to the hospital after my daughter was born.
Mm.
And they didn't allow any visitors
I remember that. Yep.
because of COVID.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, my brother passed away 3 months later and never met my daughter, which really sucks.
Oh,
And so I
wow.
have a lot of resentment towards COVID. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. That's
but
awful, man.
he's watching down. He's happy.
Mm.
So, anyways, that's kind of how I started my business, and it just blew up from there. Really, if you look at my YouTube channel, it just I really I took a lot of breaks when my brother passed away. I think I didn't post for 2 months. I stayed with my daughter and her mom because we had a new baby, you know, like for a while. Like I think until she was like 5 or 6 months old, I stayed with her.
Mhm.
And then I think that's when we ended up getting a new house. Like I got an apartment and now I bought a house and my dad's going to stay here with me. So things changed a lot from when I moved in with my dad and I was paying
Yeah.
him a couple $100s for rent to now I bought the house and I just pay for everything. And so it's kind of like paying back for all the stuff because he struggled bad, like
Mm.
financially. And he went into debt supporting me and paying for treatment. And and same with my grandma. So like, I just felt I don't need to repay him. He doesn't expect it, but I just felt that's the right thing to do.
Yeah. That's awesome,
And
man.
it's nice having someone around, and my daughter loves him, and it's it's kind of like you know, every kid deserves to have a grandparent, something I missed, that or grandfather, you know. I had
Yeah.
grandmas, but like I didn't get to really be there with my grandpa. So, and you just never know when someone could go away.
Yeah.
So yeah, so my business just blew up. If you see it now, I think like you said, it's like
Let me
440,000 right now.
let me pull it up, man. I know a lot of
Yeah.
people are wanting to check it out. So let me pull it up real quick.
Yeah, let's scroll down on it too. Scroll down to the very start on the YouTube channel.
No, why is it not? Oh, there we go. Real quick, guys, make sure to go follow Thomas. So just go to YouTube, type in Thomas Garretts, just like that. And where do you want me to scroll down?
Here, scroll down to the very start. Let me look at this.
They don't have oldest
Yeah,
video
I don't know
anymore.
why they did that. They got rid of that. It's really stupid.
Yeah. Let me see here.
You'll just have to scroll for a little bit. But I want to kind of, you see that one, my 2020 goals? Scroll up a little bit. Right up a little more, up a little more, a little more. Right there, my
Oh, yeah.
2020 goals and resolutions. That's that video I was talking about.
Dang, 3 years ago, man. Crazy.
Yeah, scroll down. So scroll down. I want to kind of explain. You can kind of see the how things changed in the thumbnails and just learning. So that first video right there, that's my very first video. That's the video I filmed at my old place. And you could see on the background if you do want to watch it, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
But
it's there. The old house, right?
yeah. Oh, I was like, that's not me.
Hold on. Let me get rid of this ad real quick.
And if you hear like in my voice, yeah, that's the old house.
Yeah.
And you can see the .com secrets, straight line leadership, those books right there.
That's cool, man.
Man, that's crazy. But yeah, so you could hear it in my voice. Like I didn't know what I was doing, dude. Like
Yeah, of course.
I'm learning. But look at that video. I mean, it got a decent amount of views. But yeah, so that was my first
Oh,
video,
man.
and then it just kind of like I improved from there. Like I would watch videos about how to get good lighting or, you know, what to have on your background. And I would just kind of try different things. Like I just kept changing and trying to improve and be different and whatever. And you know,
Well, look at you now, man. Almost 500,000 subscribers. I mean, recently
crazy.
you just had a video go pretty viral. Which
Viral.
YouTube, 1 million views on YouTube is like 20 million on TikTok. So
Yeah, bro. Probably even
congrats
more
on
than
that,
that.
bro.
Well, it depends what channel or like what niche you're in. In the make
Right.
money online niche, bro, like that's worth a lot of money. A lot of
Yeah.
money. Let's just say I had my first 100K month, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's huge. It's still getting a ton of views, man. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Super, super cool. Yeah, man. Man, your story's crazy, insane. And
It is kind of crazy. I can't believe. I hope people got value. I hope I didn't jump over too much. I tried to go like in order, you know? And I
no, it
left.
made sense. I mean, obviously you were like going through it and you're like, oh yeah, I remember that part. And
Yeah.
it was real. It was raw.
Yeah.
Like it was just you. It was just a story, man. Like it.
Yeah. Like I didn't plan anything. Like I just figured I'd come on here and just speak it, you know?
Yeah, yeah, man. I personally think God has a big plan for you. I mean, I'm a believer personally, so I mean, I don't know what you believe in or whatever, but that's my
Well, there's
personal
something
belief.
out there for sure. I
Yeah,
mean, I don't
for
know
sure.
what it is. I'm not specific into one spirituality or religion personally, partly because of my upbringing, but I definitely
Yeah.
believe there's some, bro, there's so many things I can't explain in my life. I just can't. It's
Yeah, I
crazy.
mean, with everything that happened, man, you had so many opportunities to not be here today.
Right.
And I'm not really an emotional person, but it did hit home because just we're going through some stuff right now. Like that's all I'm gonna say. Maybe one day I'll
Right.
say it, but not me personally, but people in my family. So hopefully maybe they can watch this and they can
Yeah.
see. Like I think it really hit home. Like if you don't stop, you're just
You're
gonna end
gone.
up here.
It's
You're not
yeah.
gonna survive. So I mean, yeah. So that's just crazy, man. I have a question for you though. What would you say? I mean, what was like the biggest thing like that got you to quit? Like, I know you said you're on the methadone and like whatever,
But it
but
was,
mentally you had to still make a decision.
you
What
want to know
was
what it
that?
was, bro?
What was it?
My want for having money and not struggling in life became so important to me that I was willing to do anything. I was so sick of feeling like just a bro, every day I went to work high, right? At the
Mhm.
casino.
Yeah.
Like I the first thing I had to do on my way to work is pick up $40. The first thing I
Mhm.
did after work is pick up 40. You know what I mean? Like every single day.
Is your
I was
life? Yeah.
broke and if I didn't do it, I couldn't work. You know what I'm saying? Because if you guys don't understand, I'm not just trying to get high. Basically, I was just getting well. Like that's what you call it. Like because you get sick from the withdrawals of heroin, if you guys don't know.
Mhm.
Um, you get literally sick. Like you think of like the worst flu you've ever had, where you're shooting out of all cylinders. Basically, you're not well. Um,
Mhm.
so you have to use just to feel better. That's
Mhm.
certain drugs are different, um, but heroin's the worst one. Um, that won't you won't die from the withdrawals. You cannot die from the withdrawals like you can
Mhm.
with alcohol and Xanax. You can
Oh,
actually
really?
just have a seizure and die from their withdrawals. Um, but with heroin, you just can't physically do anything. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So I just remember being at work and just looking at people and just being like, man, I wish I could just be normal. You
Mhm.
know? Like
Yeah.
really, I wanted to be normal and I wanted to be able to not struggle. Like, bro, like I had to there was days where I had to like use change out of my car to buy like a cup of chili from Wendy's, and that was like the only food I had in the day. You know what I
Wow.
mean? Like I've
Yeah.
slept in my car. Like I've had so many struggles of just being dead broke and too much pride to ask my family for help.
Mhm.
And they didn't like they didn't have money like that. Like, yeah, I could have asked them for a little bit, but they're not well off.
Yeah.
My dad was in debt because of
Mhm.
partly me, my brother, just like not making enough money at work or whatever. Um, so I just really wanted to change that, man. I wanted to, and that's why maybe today, even though I've made a lot of money, I I don't want to say I'm like humble in a way, but like I'm not like attracted to like I don't want to buy a Ferrari really. Like
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be sure it'd be cool for like a
Yeah.
day, but like that's not really. I just want to be secure. I want
Yeah.
freedom. Really is what I wanted. I wanted to be able to do what I wanted. I wanted to be able to afford. I just didn't want to have to struggle, and I didn't want to have to be like that. And luckily, I got on the methadone, which saved me because a lot of people talked crap about it. And I started. You start. Excuse me. You start at 30 milligrams. I think it was. I had to go up to I think 70 or 100. I can't remember. 70 or 100 was when I was able to fully get off the heroin.
Mhm.
Methadone, you go in the morning. I was able to stop using in the morning almost very quickly. But
Mhm.
at night, I would start feeling sick again. So I was still using for like a month or so until I got up to the higher dose. And today, I'm at 6 milligrams. I've been tapering down. So I'm at such a small dose, you can
Mhm.
barely see it. So it's like my life is completely changed because of
Yeah.
methadone. And it's a great way if you're not going to abuse it or like use other drugs,
Yeah. Yeah.
because then it's just like you're just trading off your addiction. And
Mhm.
yeah, so I'm just very fortunate it worked, and I'm just yeah, I just I wasn't willing to give up. I think that's another thing. Like I just wasn't willing to give up, and I think that's part of what made it easier for me to not give up on my business. Because bro, I tried quitting heroin probably once a week for like so long, bro. Like
Yeah.
every time I'd be off work for a couple of days, I'd try quitting, and I'd be
Mhm.
like, okay, I'm gonna stop today. I would not use for a day. I'd be in bed all day, and then I'd be like, I'm over this. Like the next day,
Mhm.
I'm gonna go, because you use it, you're instantly better, and
Yeah.
it's actually so messed up. It's um like uh like you get your hand on it before you even use it, you start feeling better. It's weird.
That
It's
is
like
weird.
yeah, but it's
It's so crazy, man. I've never done anything like that, but I've seen it now.
yeah,
It's just like, what the heck? Like, this
it's
just
really sad, dude.
it's
It's really
sad,
sad.
man. Like, it's just like, man, it just I mean, again, I don't want to bring, I know, religion too much into this, but God always says the love of money. People do things. The love of When you have the love of money, that's where the evil comes in, right?
The root
So
of all evil or
the root of
whatever.
all evil is, or the love. What is it
The
exactly?
love of money is the root of all evil or something like that,
The
isn't that?
love of money is the root of all evil. Yeah, not money itself, but the love
Right.
of money. So
Right.
like people don't like the people that make this stuff and sell it. It's like, man, they don't. They just the love of money. So I don't know, man. It's just I've seen it, and I've had friends die overdose, and
Yeah.
it's sad because I had a really good friend in high school, and what's crazy is I've never actually told this story, but he kind of saved my life in a way. Um, and basically, a couple of years later, he got addicted to, I don't even know what it was. It probably heroin. And
Oxys. Most people start with oxys. That's the
it
pill.
was oxys. It was oxys. And then, yeah, he ended up passing away. And he actually had several times where he came back, and it just got him. Eventually. So
It's crazy. You would think from like a normal perspective, it's like you're stupid. Like, why are you still doing the same stuff? It's like insanity. You're doing the same thing and expecting different results. But it's really like you can't. It's such a messed up thing to deal with.
yeah,
It really is.
like I was telling you even before the calls, like I used to think like just get over it, dude. Like
Yeah,
it's your weak mindset, because this is
exactly.
how I am. I'm just like, dude, do it,
No, I
But
understand that too.
you know what I mean? But it's like, no, I see it now. It's like, oh man, that I need to be more compassionate about it, like. And as I gotten older, I've understood that, and like I try to be compassionate, because like I'm the type like just do it or don't. But
Right.
now it's like, oh, I see it. I see it's not something you can just switch overnight. It takes time, and
And it's tough. You got to be careful too because you don't want to be too supportive where you're just enabling.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So it's such a hard thing to deal with. It's
yeah,
sometimes harder on the family than you realize and
yeah. It's
friends. You
tough.
know what I mean? Like it's tough.
Well, Thomas, should we kind of give a hint on what we're doing?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, cool. Let's.
I think it's gonna change. First of all, just a little pre thing. I think truly what we're working on, guys, is gonna change the affiliate marketing just scope of everything. Like I think it's
Yeah,
gonna be so much more simple to get started and make your first commission. I do believe that. What do you
yeah.
think
So
about it?
let's kind of. I don't know how deep we want to explain it, but we haven't launched anything. We're definitely We've been working on. So we're
It's
actually
getting
partners.
close.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you guys don't know, I partner with Thomas. We have our own LLC together. We have a bank account together. We're all in on this new thing. Okay, so if you guys want to hear it, type in I don't
Tell
know,
us.
profits down below. Let's hear it.
Yeah. I'm
Just
so
say
excited.
profits
Tell us
down below.
already. Go. I think people are on the edge of their seat right now.
Yeah, man. Well, first of all, dude, I'm actually really happy that I partnered with you. I've never partnered with anyone,
Me
um,
neither.
but just the things you've gone through, you have what it takes. You have a strong mindset because I've gone through some stuff in my business I actually never mentioned, but um, I know Russell Brunson always says he has a $1 billion business. I can't have this $1 billion business unless I went through certain things. He's been bankrupt before. He's had
Right.
to fire hundreds of employees. He has what he has today because he went through all these, trials and errors, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I see in you. Like, I wouldn't partner with anyone that they can't handle like certain things in life. And you've
Right.
been able to handle business struggles, addiction struggle. You got over that. And like I don't know, man. I'm just excited to partner with you. And
Same here.
I think I think we're going to help so many people
Definitely.
with this new thing we're doing. So I don't know. Do you want to kind of explain what it is? I don't know how
Yeah.
much you want to explain. So
Let's just say it's gonna be it's kind of like a done for you system.
Mhm.
Um, and the cool thing is there's advanced ways to use it, but the cool thing is I know when I first started in business, everything was about you need these expensive software. Like before I was even making money, I think I was spending $500 a month on software.
Mhm.
And don't get me wrong, these software are powerful, but sometimes right when you get started, you might not have $500. You know what I mean? Like you might be dead broke. You might only have a few hundred and you just want to get started and you worked hard to save that few hundred.
Right.
And if you can just make your first couple dollars, you'll see the value and you'll see the power of it and you'll be willing to invest some money. I know that's how a lot of people are. They don't want to they want to see it to believe it type deal. So
Yeah.
we're trying to make something so simple where it's like you basically, it's just you get started, you can join and you can promote it just like that. And it's kind of like a done for you thing with an affiliate program. There's going to be 2 or maybe 3 level affiliate program. We haven't decided,
Yeah. We'll
but it's
probably
going
go
to be,
3.
yeah. And it's going to be super powerful because it's like basically, do you want to go into a little bit how it's
I
similar to
mean,
certain things or what do you think?
I mean, if you guys, yeah, I mean, we can. It's kind of like, I don't know, what's the closest thing like to
I
it?
don't, well, because it's different than a lot of
It
other
is
ones.
different. It is different
Because
because
so there's other systems that have been similar to it. But every system you've had to get started and you have to sign up for these software.
the
We
software.
wanted to make it a little more simple to where you don't have to do that. You
Yeah.
can do it more advanced, but you can just basically get started, no software, promote it, and just go like that. And we have to fine tune some things. We have to kind of get some last little details ironed out.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna get this thing launched before you know it, and it's gonna be. I think it's gonna change the game. I truly do.
Oh, for sure.
I truly do. I think it's gonna blow. Yeah, I think it's gonna blow anything I've created out of the water. It's
Yeah,
getting
same
close.
here.
We'll
I
just
mean,
say that.
I think I've personally created some pretty cool things, and now it's cool because I'm working with you, and like
Yeah.
you bring a different skill set, I bring a different skill set, and together it's like, oh, we can build this really cool thing, you know. And it's like it's funny because when we came together, we knew exactly the vision, what we wanted, and now
Yeah.
we're building it out. So
Yeah.
we got some cool things lined up. Like it's basically. It's going to help you build the email list for sure. Like you guys know that I'm always big on email lists. I don't care what type of business you're running, even if it's e-commerce, a local business, building the email list is the biggest thing. So this is going to help you build the list.
A huge list.
Yeah. Huge list, multiple streams of income. Think promoting, big, awesome companies, legendary marketer, and, all these other things that like basically done for you in a way. So, yeah, that's what we have. I don't know when we're launching. I mean, we're trying to launch pretty soon. So
yeah, part of the delay has been on both. I'd say probably more me, but I've just been working on my YouTube stuff this month, and Jonathan's been doing this challenge. So we just after this is all said and done, we will probably maybe set up an opt-in page just to send people out a little way so they can get started beforehand. Maybe
we should do a waiting list.
A waiting list. That's what I meant.
If you guys are watching this, whether you're live or on the replay, just say "done for you" down below. Once we're done with the waiting list, I'll go back and reply to your comment, and then you guys can get on the waiting list. We'll probably do like a soft launch just to make sure that you guys are gonna make money because we wanna test it out.
Yeah,
get that.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely do a soft launch. I think probably we'll just do maybe a soft launch only for the people who are on that list.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So people watching this or on the replay, like they're the only ones that are going to get access to it. So, oh, wow. Actually, a lot of people are commenting.
Holy crap. I see that.
Do you see them? Yeah. We got Sanjay, we got Tim, we got, let me see, Thomas, Jones. Okay. Too many comments coming in, but wow.
Holy crap.
Dude, a lot of people stayed on for your whole story, man. Like everybody.
I think people love stories. I mean, I remember hearing Russell talking about it and I love stories. But I thought I was weird, honestly. Like I'm so into like memoirs and documentaries and people's stories. It's almost weird, but like I appreciate that stuff. So I'm glad people liked it.
Well, I appreciate
Tim Hewitt. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
I see Tim Hewitt. I know that guy. I know Tim.
Yeah, what's up,
Hope
Tim?
you're doing well,
man. Yeah, no, I mean, I know when you first got on, Thomas was like, man, I don't know if I want to say like that much. I'm like, it's up to you, man. Like people, you thought that people weren't going to enjoy it, but it looks like from the looks of everyone's still on here. We actually have more than we started with. So
Wow,
we'll
that's
have
amazing.
way more on the replay, I'm sure, man. And then I'll get you your a replay of this if you want to post it on yours
For
or
sure.
whatever.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably just email the email list and mention it for sure.
Yeah. Cool, guys. Well, if you typed in done for you, we'll go back and once we have like the waiting list, we'll give you the link to that. You guys and whoever was on there, whatever, a couple hundred people or whatever, you guys will have first access to everything and
Wow, this
all
is
that good stuff.
amazing. There's so
Yeah,
many people. That's crazy.
dude, this challenge has been insane. Like every video we've had, we've had like over 1,000 people comment.
That's
Crazy.
insane.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know if if we want to say anything else about that, but I think that's a pretty good hint. So
Yeah, for sure.
We'll go
Yeah,
there.
we're gonna bust our butts on that. So we'll get it to you guys. Don't worry. It's gonna be
Yeah, man.
crazy. We'll just say that.
Cool,
I'm
man. Well,
excited.
hey, I'm really appreciate you coming on, man. Like this was
For
awesome.
sure.
I'm excited to partner with you, and especially someone that just just gone through so much, dude, and like you came out on the other side winning, and I know you're going to continue to touch lives, and I think you need to tell your story more, bro. Like that's
So,
powerful.
I never
Absolutely.
went that deep ever. Like I've hinted at certain things, but it's been so long. I'm like, screw it. Like that stuff's way past, So it's like I think it's worth sharing if it can help people. So I appreciate you
Yeah,
pushing me to
no,
that.
for sure, man. I mean, that's the thing. I was like, I don't want you to say something where it's like, I don't want, it's still like a memory I don't want to mention, but if it's something that like I can talk about it and it's going to help someone. Yeah. That's why I was like, you do your thing and I'll just kind of, we'll go into it. So it was raw. It was real. I from the comments, people really like resonated with that. And I mean, I really appreciate you coming on, man.
For
So
sure. I appreciate you having me.
yeah. And I don't know if there's any last things you want to say, but
No, I just want to thank everyone for commenting. I love seeing this
yeah, awesome, man.
and
Awesome.
watching. Yeah.
Yeah, great testimonies here. I'll throw some of the comments up here. Yeah, the story's powerful. Please share more. Great testimony. Thank you for your transparency. Shows people that anyone can do this. Yeah, I mean,
Definitely. If I can do it, anyone can do it. I was just horrible. Like like you guys can do it. You just got to be willing to put in the work and not quit. It will come. If I had given up at 5 months before I made $1, even after I made $1, I wanted to give up. So just keep pushing, and I think that this system will make it a lot easier, a lot more simple for you.
yeah, it'll give them a really good boost in like to get started. And then from there, it's like, okay, now I can kind of do whatever. So cool. Again, guys, if you are interested in the waiting list for this, whenever we're launching, hopefully in the next few weeks or sooner, we'll see how fast we can work on it. Type in done for you down below, and I'll get that to you as soon as possible. So thank you guys so much for watching. Tomorrow's day number 10 of the traffic challenge. So make sure to keep posting your videos. Brian Brewer is going to be on showing us TikTok ads. So that's
you got a good one for the last one.
It's going to be good. I don't know if like every single day has been like leading up to this. So it was like, Emily came on and taught like how to start talking to your target audience. Then Amy hires about going live. Then we talked about conversion.
I liked hers. I think I saw part of hers.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good. And then yesterday, Alex Ford, that one was super good about conversion and email marketing. And then you just came in and talked about the mindset.
Switched it up a little bit. Yeah, we switched it up. It was good.
It was good,
got a
man.
good mix.
It was perfect. And tomorrow we're going to talk about scaling ads. So I'm excited personally because I love ads. So yeah. Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. And we'll talk to you guys soon. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
God bless everybody.